Welcome back, dear friends of stories and seekers of meaning. Today, we set sail together on waters that have carried human imagination for more than 3,000 years. This is no ordinary voyage, and our ship is not bound for distant, new lands, but for the strange and winding path home. The wind in our sails is ancient poetry. The compass in our hands is human longing. And the destination, though it may change in the telling, is the rocky island of Ithaca. So, take a seat. Make yourself steady. And let the waves of one of the greatest epics ever told carry you with us. For we are about to enter the world of Homer's Odyssey. It does not begin with a hero in triumph, nor in the thick of battle, but with silence, absence, and waiting. 10 years have passed since the fall of Troy, and the palace halls of Ithaca echo not with the voice of their king, but with the laughter of ill-mannered suitors feasting at his tables. Penelope, the queen, though surrounded by those who would see her wed again, resists with a patience as cunning as it is stubborn. Unpicking, by night, the weaving she begins by day, keeping her vow intact, one thread at a time. Their son, Telemachus, is suspended between boyhood and manhood, uncertain of his place in a world that has lived so long without his father's guiding presence. The gods take notice, but not all in the same way. Athena, the gray-eyed protector of heroes, decides the long-awaited journey must begin, while Poseidon, lord of the seas, still burns with vengeance over the blinding of his son, the Cyclops. And so, the story's waters begin to churn. Odysseus, the man of many turns, is introduced, not at the forefront of action, but stranded on the island of Ogygia, the unwilling guest of the immortal Calypso, who offers him comfort and ageless life, if he will only stay. Yet immortality, without home, without the love and loyalty of Ithaca, is its own prison. The choice he makes here, to embrace mortality in exchange for the uncertain, dangerous road back, is the first true act of heroism. A raft, a moment of mercy from certain gods, and the long voyage resumes. Through his own voice, we learn of the trials that unfolded between Troy and Ogygia, the land of the lotus eaters, whose flowers pull men into sweet, passive forgetfulness, the cavern of Polyphemus, where wit and daring rescue him at the cost of provoking Poseidon's wrath, the floating island of Aeolus, where even a blessing in the form of the bag of winds is undone by human folly, the Isle of Circe, where men are transformed into swine and back again, and where Odysseus gains not only her favor, but the grim knowledge of future trials to come. We sail past the sirens, their irresistible song promising wisdom at the price of destruction. We pass between Scylla, the six-headed devourer, and Charybdis, the swallowing whirlpool, knowing that sacrifice is inevitable. Each episode swirls with both the marvelous and the moral, where the line between survival and doom is as narrow as an oar's breadth. Yet the Odyssey is not the chronicle of one man alone. It is equally concerned with those bound to him across the storms of time. Penelope holds her ground, not through force, but through intelligence. Mastering the art of delay, she performs her part of the epic in the hushed tension of Ithaca's palace. where danger is no less real for being unarmed. Telemachus takes his own journey, setting out to learn if his father lives, finding instead the stories of others. Nestor, Menelaus, that frame Odysseus in a chorus of war's survivors. In these side journeys, we see the dimensions of the man long before we see him return. More than a chain of adventures, the Odyssey is a study in identity. Fluid, masked, tested, Odysseus becomes a master of disguise, passing as beggar, stranger, or storyteller, to survive and to measure the hearts of those around him. When, at last, he stands again on Ithacon's soil, his homecoming is not a simple rush into familiar arms. Rather, it is a careful, staged revelation. Recognition comes in layers. First, with Telemachus, who must believe not only the claim, but the man before him. Then, with his old nurse, Euryclea, who knows the scar upon his leg. And at last, with Penelope, who tests him with the secret of their marriage bed. A truth no impostor could know. The gods, in Homer's telling, are neither all-knowing nor constant. They are political players, in their own right, shifting their alliances, driven by grudges, pity, or amusement. Odysseus's success lies not in brute force, but in reading their temperaments, using moments of favor, while enduring the storms they cast against him. It is a world where divine power frames the action, but mortal wit steers the course. A balance that asks whether our own lives are so different in their interplay of luck and effort. The monsters of the Odyssey are rarely simple symbols of evil. The Cyclops, for instance, is more a brute victim of trespass than a figure of pure malevolence. The sirens are temptation, given beautiful voice, but they destroy without malice, like a fire that consumes whatever draws near. Even Scylla and Charybdis are unstoppable forces of nature, not personal foes to be conquered. Homer's genius is to show that the greatest threats to the journey often come from human weaknesses. The greed of sailors, the recklessness of pride, the surrender to easy oblivion. Though Odysseus finally routs the suitors and reclaims his hull, the ending is not unshadowed triumph. His journey home has been as much about reshaping himself as it has about crossing the sea. The patient endurance of Penelope, the growth of Telemachus, and the scars on Odysseus's own mind and body all speak to a central truth: that homecoming is not simply arriving where you began, but arriving changed, able to belong in the place you once knew. Later legends even suggest he may have set off again, unable to rest entirely, the journey becoming a way of life. The Odyssey endures because it mirrors the structure of a human life. We set out, driven by some vision of Ithaca. We pass through trials, both external and within. We resist temptations that would stall our voyage. And we return, if we are lucky, to some place or person that grounds us. Yet what we gain in wisdom, we pay for in time, in loss, in the shedding of earlier selves. Homer's sea is our own sea, his winding path still our path, and the call to set sail, to risk all, for the sake of that deep and personal home we carry in our hearts is one that still reaches us over millennia. So, in these verses, in this voice, as old as the walls of Troy, and yet as new as a wave breaking against the shore today, we find a question that will never be fully answered. Is it better to reach the safety of harbor, or to keep the prow facing toward the horizon? Homer, with a smile, both knowing and wistful, suggests only this: that we are all, in some way, still at sea.